is ESPN on ABC.
In all of American sports, there's nothing quite like it. With Big Tex overlooking the State Fair, got 100,000 outside for fried food and thrilling rides. And then nearly 100,000 who make their way inside this glorious Cotton Bowl who get to see history. Oh, it's been years with the Red River Showdown, creating legends and memorable moments and helping to shape each and every college football season. It is burnt orange, it is crimson and cream, and always the most unique college football setting for a rivalry that the sport can offer up. It is Texas and Oklahoma for the 118th time in the Cotton Bowl here in Dallas as we welcome you to the AT&T Red River Showdown on ABC, presented by Arby's. They've been doing it here in Dallas at this venerable site since 1937. Hook 'em and Boomer Sooner. And here come the Horns. They took Bama to the limit, and they are fresh off a win over West Virginia, as it is always an honor to say hello from this booth for this game. Joe Tessitore alongside my partner, Greg McElroy. This is a classic. This is a fixture on the American sports calendar. Every player will tell you, don't worry about the records. It means absolutely nothing. This game means something. Now, Greg, you grew up in this area. Yeah. I know you can feel it in your blood.
Well, I think we all have that seminal moment, whether it's in our childhood or whenever it is in your life, when you can point to and say, all right, I'm a diehard college football fan. Mine happened in this stadium 24 years ago. It's my 9th Red River game, my first as a broadcaster, and it's truly an honor to be here. This is a dream come true. I'm just so thrilled. My dream was to play for the Texas Longhorns and play in this game. And I'm telling you, the urgency that's felt on both sides of this game is at an all-time high, because with a loss, your dreams of a Big 12 championship are essentially extinguished.
As Oklahoma gets ready to take the field, they've had a rough couple of weeks, but they believe, and they are rallying around their head coach, Brent Venables. Boomer Sooner, the crimson and cream, with the pride, bringing them on the field. That marching band out in force here today. Katie George, when we say the Great Divide, oh, it just means more here.
Nowhere in the country, Tess, can you attend a game where fans are split right down the middle at the 50-yard line. Players and coaches alike say this is the greatest rivalry in college sports. Crimson on one side, burnt orange on the other. Bijan Robinson said it's like playing a home game and away game all at the same time. His head coach did not feel like they handled the crowd noise well a year ago. Brent Venables, of course, understands how helpful or disruptive it can be. He says poise and composure is a must. I don't think you're going to find very much of that in these stands, Tess, but hopefully the players on the field have it.
Now, Katie, here's a little news update for you. Dylan Gabriel is in shorts, out of pads. He was warming up earlier. The starting quarterback for Oklahoma took a devastating hit. This was pregame. They said, going to be a game-time decision. You just got your answer, and we will be back with kickoff after this message and a word from our ABC station. Oklahoma won the toss. They elected to defer. But Kevin Robinson and Roshard Johnson will be back for the Zach Schmidt kickoff. Isn't this what college football should look like? 7 minutes after 11 local on a glorious Texas day. And Greg, Quinn Ewers is back at quarterback. We saw him last September 20th against Bama.
And he was tremendous in that game, albeit granted just a quarter of work, pushing the ball down the field, making difficult throws, anticipating throws, and continuing to find tight windows. He has unbelievable arm talent, but something to watch today is Oklahoma's defense has really been hurt by quarterback run game. Of course, Quinn Ewers more of a pocket passer, not going to make a whole lot of plays with his legs. So it'll be interesting if Oklahoma changes their approach to manage the pocket passer.
So after rehabbing the sprained clavicle, dealing with the pain, he is back. And of course, here goes Bijan Robinson, who is second in the Big 12 at 103 rushing yards per game. Stutzman with the tackle.
Be really interesting to see this Oklahoma defense. They've changed their structure time and time again. What will they get today?
Bijan out of the backfield from Ewers. Cuts back against the grain. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 from there. Stutzman again with the tackle for the Sooners.
So far, you see the aggressiveness of this Oklahoma defense was taken advantage of last week by TCU's offense. But Oklahoma can certainly run sideline to sideline. It's the vertical shots that they've struggled with. And like I said, the big plays given up have been a huge part of the story these last couple weeks.
Roschon Johnson, who is the heart and soul, emotional leader of this team, in the backfield on 3rd down and 3. Ewers is going to check down and wrapped up. Stutzman with 3 tackles to start the game, and it'll be a 3 and out for Texas, a loss of 2.
And a great job by Oklahoma's defense getting off to a nice start. You had the tight end crossing the field, JT Sanders, but instead Ewers decides to check it down, and Stutzman was there to make the play. That's a great sign for Oklahoma's defense because Stutzman has looked a step slow these last couple weeks, which has led to some of their challenges.
Marvin Mims back to return the Trejo punt. Mims is 4th nationally in punt return yardage, but will call for the fair catch at about the 24-yard line. So Dillon Gabriel, if you missed it last week, Greg, that devastating hit he took against TCU. Here's what happened.
Yeah, it was terrible. And, of course, down, sliding, getting himself up, trying to protect himself. And he takes a shot like this. As you can see his head hitting the turf. That was with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter. In the early going, it looked like it might be him, but obviously Davis Bevel giving the call.
The transfer from Pitt, who came in last week when Gabriel was injured, was 7 of 16 for only 50 yards in that blowout loss. Eric Gray trying to find some room on the left side as he gets it to the 29-yard line. So Davis Bevel, what does he offer up at 6'6", 225?
He certainly won't have any issues identifying receivers downfield, that's for sure, with his length. But he's an accurate passer that has a good understanding of the offensive system, but lacks the mobility that Dillon Gabriel possesses.
Second and 6, Gray again. As he spins his way for a 1.5 yards, overshown. Agent 0 with his first tackle of the day.
It'll be interesting to see just how Jeff Levy, the offensive coordinator, manages the tempo for Oklahoma today. Last week, really struggled sustaining drives, and that hyperspeed eventually wore out his own defense. So let's see if they adjust with how quickly they play.
3rd down and 4, 4-man rush. And on the inside cut, he gets it complete to Braden Willis, who last week against TCU had a 78-yard touchdown.
That was a good throw there by Davis Bevel, standing tall in the pocket, delivering that slot slant for a nice conversion.
The ball came out at the end, but they're quick to get to the line. Let's take one more peek at this. That was close, but they get the snap off. And he was looking for Stoops.
When you talk to Jeff Levy, said he felt great about Davis Bevel's understanding of how they want to do things. But obviously the amount of reps that he's gotten, nowhere near what Dillon Gabriel's gotten over the course of his career, not just at Oklahoma, but dating back to his time at UCF.
I don't know, that wasn't a fumble moments ago with that completion. They go with the jet motion with Stoops, who takes the little toss forward and has limited action with the pursuit down the line. Take a look at the end of this play, Greg.
Yeah, and as you can see, as Willis is going down, where's the ball? That left elbow's down right there. It's very close.
Very close. And with the left elbow, which would have him down at the same time that the ball's being ripped at. Marcus Major comes in now on 3rd and 10 as the running back, flanking Davis Bevel. Bevel launches downfield, far to the outside of Marvin Mims.
A good start by both defenses. Obviously, Oklahoma getting out, starting the game with a 3-and-out, and then Texas surrendering just 1 first down. So good starts by two defenses, and it'll be interesting to see what adjustments are made.
Guys, I've received word from Oklahoma that Dillon Gabriel is still in concussion protocol. He is being evaluated daily moving forward.
Here's the update officially after he was warming up there. Xavier Worthy's going to return this from his own 5-yard line, and the pursuit is able to get him with the coverage on punt near the 10-yard line. A 54-yard punt with good coverage downfield. Short break, and right back to the AT&T Red River Showdown. We honor those who serve, and it's brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Greg, I just love all the traditions surrounding this game, and here's a great one. OU in Texas, every year, the Naval ROTC members, they run the game balls from their school campuses all the way here to the Cotton Bowl, the ROTC game ball delivery. And our view from the AT&T 5G Skycam. Texas back out there, tough starting field position from the 10-yard line. Robinson cuts back and leans ahead for 2.5 yards. They went 3 plays, 5 yards, punt on their first drive.
As you can see, though, Bijan Robinson, as he should be every week, a huge part of the game plan. Talking to Steve Sarkisian yesterday, a little bit frustrated with the fact that they haven't really been able to create enough explosive plays with Bijan Robinson. He's such an incredible player, and they're trying to find space for him any way possible.
It's out in the slot on 2nd and 7. Ewers will get it complete for a first down to Whittington.
As you can see, Quinn Ewers, obviously 5-star prospect coming out of South Lake Carroll High School. Started his career at Ohio State. Got plenty of very valuable reps running the scout team last year. This should be his true freshman year. He reclassified early to take advantage of NIL, and now here he is starting for his home state school.
Ewers pulls it and gets it to Sanders. Look at him go. J.T. Sanders, who is so dynamic. And you talk to the coaches, Greg, they say this thing's made of the right stuff. The kind of guy who works at his craft just gets better and better.
And just a great job. You got that over the top, and then you got him into the flat underneath. You have just a total layered concept. One guy's deep, one guy's in the middle, one guy's out behind, and Sanders, so athletic there at tight end, a huge piece of this offense.
29 yards as the ball is cresting to midfield.
The previous play is under further review.
I think they're going to look to see if he possibly stepped out. Steve Sarkisian talking things over with his group. We'll take a quick break while they look at this last play.
Kevin, Dan, and Boog here in the studio updating you. Homecoming at Indiana, and Dan, 5-0 Michigan in town. And how about Blake Corum?
Well, when you head on the road, you want to be able to run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and that's something Michigan does really well.
50 yards, stopped at the 1, and then Corum gets the call once again to seal the deal. How about 11 rushing touchdowns on the season? No one better. Back to you, Tess.
What they've said here is that J.T. Sanders, the Texas tight end, as he was striding along the sideline, that his heel actually touched out of bounds. So instead of a 29-yard gain at midfield, it's a 16-yard reception.
And as you see, that left heel right there at the 37-yard line, just ever so slightly on the white, but a good call by the officials and a good break there for the Oklahoma defense.
First down for Texas. Ewers off the play action. That ball nearly intercepted. Woody Washington broke on it. Of course, he had a big Red River moment in 2020 with an interception in the end zone in the 4 overtime game.
And just a great break there by Woody Washington. Almost makes the play after Ewers scans the field.
Back to action here on second down, and it's Bijan Robinson who will make it a 3rd and 2.
I like the approach there from Texas. After the near interception, Oklahoma's kind of celebrating for a moment. They hustle up, run tempo, and pick up a nice gain on second down.
Robinson, that'll move the chains as he gets one final push. Webu able to make the tackle. And first down, Texas. Let's see if burnt orange for 50% of this Cotton Bowl. Ewers Easy pitch and catch to Whittington. And he's inside the 30-yard line. Jordan Whittington. Quick pace early on. Just Horns right to the line, ready to go.
And a really nice throwback there off heavy boot action.
Bijan Robinson able to get to the edge and carries a man with him down to the 21-yard line.
This tempo is really catching Oklahoma's defense off guard. This is a very complex defense that puts an awful lot on the second and the third level in regards to communication. And this tempo that Texas is using, Oklahoma's having a difficult time getting the plays in time to get properly lined up.
Good down and distance for Sark to do something with it here. And Johnson, look at that desire of pad leverage as he just steamrolls it ahead over Stutzman. And it's another first down for Texas as Brent Venables and that defense tries to find an early answer. Roschon Johnson stays in at running back. He will get this work, and he is down. They're marking him at the 9-yard line as the little something extra is brought into the end zone. With Kelvin Banks, the true freshman left tackle. And that's the crowd reaction. Sooners fans saying, where's the flag there?
There's an awful lot of mutual respect on the field. A lot of these guys know each other, dating back to high school camps and the proximity of both schools here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. A lot of respect on the field, but also no love lost at the same time.
Johnson was marked down at the 9-yard line. Here's Worthy. Xavier Worthy! Right at that line to gain. Woody Washington comes up with the tackle.
A great job there by Worthy, but an excellent job there by Whittington. Blocking out in front, had to secure it for a while. Nice run after catch to set up first and goal from the 2.
12th play of this drive.
Sarkisian opting to keep 12 personnel in the field as opposed to going to his big body that involves a couple of 300-pounders from the defensive side.
Robinson, flag is down as he crosses the goal line.
Offside. Number 8, defense. The penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Bijan Robinson capping a 90-yard drive.
Nice run there from Bijan Robinson. It was a good initial surge from Oklahoma, but the All-American running back finds a seam and finds pay dirt.
And good tempo on that drive. Ran the ball well. And had the completion that sparked things with J.T. Sanders. 12 plays, 90 yards in 4.5 minutes, including 6 first downs. And then Bijan Robinson with the touchdown.
College football on ABC is presented by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats. And in part by Dell Technologies, we'll stop at nothing to bring out the innovator in all of us.
Texas State Fair. Gotta go all the way back to 1886. Of course, this is the showcase moment of State Fair. The AT&T Red River Showdown. Texas up 7-0. Bijan Robinson with the touchdown moments ago. Last year, Greg had a big game against the Sooners.
Last year was about as crazy as it gets. As you can see, Bijan Robinson, unbelievable start to that football game. Texas gets out to a massive early lead. And then, of course, here today, Bijan Robinson finding the end zone again after a really nicely executed second drive for the Longhorns. Started to utilize some of that tempo, and it was very beneficial for the offense.
This is Farouk. And a good gainer out to the 48-yard line for Jalil Farouk. Goes for 24 yards.
Really nicely done there by Braden Willis on the read. A little wildcat here from the Sooners.
Braden Willis, starting tight end, great looking athlete, taking the direct snap. Farouk again turns the corner, and again that'll move the chains for the Sooners. So the story is that Dylan Gabriel, the starting quarterback, took a big hit last week, tried to give it a go earlier today. In concussion protocol still, says Katie George. Davis Bevel got the start at quarterback, and now Braden Willis in the backfield along with Farouk and Marcus Major. Willis is the senior tight end, goes 6'4", 240. And he's going to keep it himself as he will surge ahead. Big body, good athlete. Told you had a 78-yard catch last week against TCU. Took a crosser and started long striding and was pushed out at the 1-yard line. Very physical tight end. Can make plays in the open field and now playing quarterback. And Farouk is wrapped up after a gain of just 2 yards by Jaron Thompson.
Good job there. Good initial block. You referenced Braden Willis. Teammates describe him and coaches describe him as the ultimate Oklahoma football player. Selfless, just one of those guys that will do anything for you. And here he is playing quarterback in what's likely to be 4-down territory for the Sooners offense.
Willis out of the shotgun now with Bunkley, Shelton, and Marcus Major in the backfield. 3rd down and 5. And it'll be 4th down from there as Willis was diving ahead, trying to make that line to gain. Ojimo came up with the tackle, so a 4th down for the Sooners. 4th and 2. Willis, as he spins his way for a 1st down to the 26-yard line. Braden Willis moving the Sooners offense after their first drive with Davis Bevel playing quarterback. Went 6 plays, 15 yards, and a punt. Bevel was 2 of 4, 9 yards, and now he comes back into the game. The transfer from Pitt, who took over when Gabriel was injured last week. Now with a 1st down, Davis Bevel back in the shotgun with Eric Gray at running back. And he will short pitch to Gray. And tremendous pursuit as Jamison, playing that corner, makes the tackle.
It's going to be interesting, too, to see what the pecking order's like at running back for Oklahoma. You see Eric Gray, not crazy top-end speed, but a very versatile weapon. Marcus Major being back is enormous. He's a physical back that wants to get downhill. And Javante Barnes, he's got another gear, so expect to see the freshman at some point there at running back.
We're very high on him. The freshman from Las Vegas. For now, it is Gray on 2nd and 8, and he is tackled for a loss by Keandre Coburn. The big 340-pounder from Houston, who played well against Alabama last month with the tackle for loss.
Yeah, you see him right here just working against the center, Rain. He works right around and makes the play in the backfield. It's difficult to move a 345-pounder off the ball.
9th play of this drive that started with Braden Willis playing quarterback. Now a 3rd and 9 for Davis Bevel. Stoops couldn't break free. Drake Stoops with the reception to the 20-yard line and the cascade of Stoops from the Oklahoma faithful.
And that's the 2nd time now that they've hit that slot slant, and then safety drove on it quickly. You know that Jeff Levy's making note of that. Probably thinking at some point a little slant and go out of the slot might be an absolute laugher touchdown for the Sooners if they get to it.
So here's another 4th down. This 4th and 3.
Man coverage for the Texas Longhorns, and in that particular case, you really want to work your best matchup. And right here in the slot, Stoops is an excellent route runner against man.
And they're going to have to burn a timeout. Play clock was running down as Davis Bevel was trying to direct traffic. Aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, and what a scene it is today here in Dallas. Celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. A reminder, Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Tonight from Chestnut Hill, it is number 5 Clemson taking on the Boston College Eagles. That is 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge will be there to see if Clemson can stay the course. Sark and Venables meeting up here with the AT&T Red River Showdown. He's off the timeout. Zach Schmidt, the place kicker, trots out there. So a little bit of confusion as the play clock was counting down. They use the timeout and they say, let's kick it. Schmidt is 5 of 6 on the season. It is a fake as they get it to the kicker, and he goes ahead before he's tackled by Overshawn right at that line of game, and it is going to be a first down, Sooners. Michael Turk, the holder, takes the snap and quickly pitches to Schmidt. Fake field goal off the timeout.
And how about the kicker, too? Just extending, knowing exactly how far he had to go. Is pretty well covered there by Texas's field goal unit, but just a great call by Brent Venables and nice execution.
Play is officially under review.
It was a heck of a play there. As Schmidt just running for his life. I don't blame him, running away from Overshawn. That's no easy task.
They're going to check that line that Schmidt was reaching out to. Here's the play again.
This is probably all seen on tape, too. You see number 5, Deshaun Jameson, coming off the edge. They jump leverage immediately. Let's take a look. Where is that ball? Oh, yeah, I think he's got it. Of course, it has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn. It's very difficult at times to overturn where the ball is spotted. I think that's a good, clean spot, and this will be an excellent 4th down conversion for Oklahoma's offense. What an answer by the Sooners.
Zach Schmidt, who goes 5'10", 185 pounds, from Bishop McGuinness in Oklahoma City, where, hey, he played defensive back there.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. It's a first down.
So the fake field goal by Schmidt gets the first down. But I was going to say, his backstory, yes, he was a 5-star prospect as a kicker, but he was a defensive back also in high school. Good natural athlete. In fact, in the 5A quarterfinals against Tulsa Edison, he had a game-sealing interception in that game back in high school. He says, hey, I'm an athlete too. Let's get that first down.
Absolutely. That was well done.
And Davis Bevel and the offense back out there. Orbit motion from Mims. Marcus Major will get the work. Good run down to the 10-yard line for Marcus Major, who has been dealing with an ankle. He didn't play last week. Thompson made the tackle for the Horns.
Man, that was really close. Well defended, well blocked, excuse me. And a great tackle in the open field by Thompson.
2nd and 3, Major. Not much there against the interior of that offensive line. Ojimo, Coburn, and stacking it up.
Strength of this Texas defense is up front, so it'll be a challenge for Oklahoma, especially in short yardage situations, moving that line of scrimmage and putting a dent going against Coburn, who goes at 345, Murphy 312, Sweat 345. I mean, big bodies up front for the Horns.
3rd down and 2. Bevel pulls, and he's going to be a yard short. So it's yet another 4th down for the Sooners. Perrin Sorrell with the tackle, Davis Bevel.
I don't like the pull there by Bevel. I like the idea of going for it here. Challenge your offensive line. Maybe go with a similar play. This time hand it off.
4th down and 1. Gray. That second effort, the initial surge definitely wasn't there, and that's a turnover on downs. A hook 'em wall stops Eric Gray.
This is the matchup right here. The right guard, Chris Murray, just working against that front for Texas. I believe it's Sweat who just stands Murray up right there at the line of scrimmage. Can't go anywhere. And as a result, the interior moves its way to the ball carrier and drops him at the line of scrimmage. But that was all made possible by the point of attack where Murray, the right guard, was stood up in his place.
Great play by Tavondre Sweat, Montez's little brother.
Guys, Brent Venables told his defense after the TD, look, we missed an interception. We were in great position for it, but we have to be able to respond after that and tackle better. We missed a couple, and we're getting knocked back on contact. So tackling and physicality needed for Venables now.
I think communication too, Katie, because if you look at how they were a little discombobulated against Texas's tempo, that's going to be big moving forward.
Bijan Robinson, back-to-back carries. So patient to be able to probe and then hit the accelerator. It'll be 3rd down and a long one, tackled by DJ Graham of the Sooners.
And a massive down here for Oklahoma. Massive down. You just had sudden change. All of the momentum right now feels like it's with the Longhorns. You have a chance to potentially get to 3 and out. Just massive.
End of the first quarter. Always intense, always drama, always high energy. 7-0 Texas. Robinson had the touchdown. AT&T Red River Showdown on ABC, presented by Arby's, returns after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Kevin Agati back in studio. Week 6 early window here, and Tennessee right now up 13-0 in Death Valley against LSU. That on ESPN. ESPN2 wildcard playoffs. Rays facing elimination. ESPNU. Florida in control. And how about Mississippi State up big against Arkansas on the SEC network? Back to you, Tess.
3rd down and 1 to start the second quarter. Johnson, that'll move the chains for Texas. Oklahoma hadn't gone scoreless in the first quarter against Texas since 2015.
That was a good surge there by the Texas offensive line, too, because that 3rd and 1 got exponentially more difficult when they flipped the field at the end of the quarter. You go from having your home band and your home stands behind you to essentially going on the road backed up on a critical down and distance.
DJU, Phil Dracovic tonight, Clemson, BC, 7:30 on ABC. Quinn Ewers extends the play, and a reaching effort by Whittington to dive and secure it for Horns' first down.
Great catch by Whittington. After Ewers had to move in the pocket just ever so slightly, it was good pressure being applied by the Oklahoma defensive front. Ethan Downs working around the left. Ewers has to drift back to his right. Gives his receiver a chance, and he reels it in.
13 yards there on the reception. Jordan Whittington. Ewers turns around, goes back to Johnson. Well-designed play. Roschon ripping it up. Big gainer, chunk play, Horns. For Texas.
And look at the influence that this motion has. Look at all these Oklahoma Sooners move to their left initially as Ewers rolls to his left to buy a little time, turns around, finds Johnson, and he's out the gate. Really well-designed misdirection there from Steve Sarkisian.
Bijan Robinson, couple of yards. Jeffrey Johnson with the tackle.
Very important here for Oklahoma's defense to hold Texas to just 3 points. Kind of on their heels here. A lot of momentum in favor of the Horns.
Ewers out of the backfield. Robinson. It was interesting as he came with the reverse motion. He actually slipped on the turf, regained his footing before making that reception.
As you see, he just kind of slips. But this is a good job by Ewers. Feeling that pressure off the right-hand side. Brent Venables deciding to blitz from the boundary, which is a change in tendency from him. Ewers sees it, and with poise delivers a strike for another first down.
Keelan Robinson goes for 13 yards. 1st and goals. The ball's on the 10-yard line. Ewers to the end zone. Touchdown. Xavier Worthy.
And you're going to see the motion like this, and watch how that affects the defender. As a result, you just have the post right in behind it. Easy pitch and catch to your best wide receiver after a beautiful route from Worthy and an excellent throw from Ewers.
Long drives have been the mark for Texas today. Remember, they had the 90-yarder. Here they go 8 plays, 92 yards. And Xavier Worthy, who had such a big game in Red River last year, does this year. It is 14-0 Texas here at the Cotton Bowl. Glad you're with us here watching the Big 12 Conference on ABC. Joe Tessitore, Greg McElroy, and Katie George as Texas has a 14-0 lead. Let's check in with Kevin and the guys in the studio.
Test time now for our AT&T 5G studio update. 11 a.m. local kick in Death Valley. Not good, Boog, for the locals after Tennessee stopped LSU on 4th down. Hendon Hooker.
I mean, you won't see a better throw since Greg McElroy was in college.
To Jalen Hyatt. That's a compliment, Greg. We're off to a good start. Back to you, 20-0 Tennessee.
This is like backward. I've never, ever, in the 9 years that Booger and I have been friends, that is the first positive thing he's ever said to me. Amazing. It was probably a little dump out in the flat. I didn't see it, so it probably wasn't super difficult. I don't know.
Davis Bevel with a completion to Braden Willis, who we saw playing quarterback on the last drive.
Guys, after the OU turnover on down, starting center Andrew Rim came down to talk to Davis Bevel. He said, when we're in Texas territory, I cannot hear a word you are saying, so make sure we're on the same page moving forward.
And now Bevel is split out as Gray takes the direct snap, and with that advantage, he makes his way near the 50-yard line to the 49. I think we're going to see a little bit of everything out of Oklahoma.
I think that's a safe assumption, Tess. I mean, I actually like it, kind of keeping Texas on their heels, but it's ultimately about finishing drives, which they ultimately haven't done so far.
2nd and 2, Gray again. And Gray finds that seam with Braden Willis acting as the blocker, playing that H position, looking like a snipper there.
Again. Like Herb Brooks and Miracle. Again. It's exact. I want to see that same play until Texas stops it. Jeff Levy should call it over and over and over again.
No, you're getting it here with Mims in motion. Gray, slight hesitation, and then gets it inside the 40-yard line. So a hefty dose of Eric Gray, the transfer from Tennessee, was banged up a little bit last week against TCU. He did have a touchdown run.
And this is going to be really important. When you have a backup quarterback in the game, all 10 starters outside the quarterback have to elevate their play. Ultimately, the offensive line, as Major now looks like he's going to get a snap here in the Wildcat.
So here we go. Now it's Major as he goes with the tap to Mims, and Mims is struggling to get to the corner. Mims was backed up, and that is going to be a loss of 2. So we have seen Bevel at quarterback, Willis at quarterback, Gray at quarterback, and now Marcus Major getting to Mims.
And the timing just wasn't great there on the jet sweep. It looked like they snapped it just a hair early, which allowed Texas to really commit once it was tipped forward to the horizontal play. But Oklahoma's been very, very aggressive. You would imagine this is 4-down territory as well.
Mr. Jay Barron, who made the play defensively for Texas. Bevel back at quarterback on 3rd down, and he overthrows Marvin Mims. So after they found the success with Eric Gray on the direct snaps, things go in reverse on the last few plays.
Yeah, and right there, just off the mark from Davis Bevel, they had a nice design. Looked like it was just not really in phase on the screen. Mims got a little too wide, and Bevel threw it way too hard. This is looking a little bit like the Kansas State game, though. They're able to move the ball, but once they cross the 50, it looks like Oklahoma's really shot themselves in the foot.
Kirk on to punt, nose down, looking for a pin here. Tremendous effort down near the goal line, but it'll go for the touchback. Here at the Texas State Fair, where we went past the livestock early this morning at 7:45. Who you got? Pig races at the State Fair. What's the exacta you're banking on here? The 2 is out in front by a nose. If you had the 2-1 exacta, go to the window and cash now, folks. Get down. About Live Moss student section. We got student sections across the country competing to be the Live Moss student section of the year all college football season long.
Quinn Ewer's been off the charts good. This last drive did a great job moving the pocket right here. Just very calm, very cool and collected. Drifting just to his right. Did a great job here on the misdirection screen. and then finishing the drive off play action, hit Worthy high in the back of the end zone. Just very under control. Tremendous poise for a young player that hasn't played in a few weeks.
Starting from the 20, their average field position so far today is their own 15, and they have 2 long touchdown drives. Ewers. It looks so easy for him right now to Jordan Whittington. I think folks have seen him against Bama. Now they see him early today. Like, man, the kid's strong, calm, composed.
Yeah, he can throw it, and really easy too in the offensive line. You got a pocket like that, and to allow your receivers to cross all the way across the field. Didn't like his deep ball. Oklahoma played it well, stayed over the top, finds his secondary option on the crosser, and throws another strike.
22-yard completion. Now Bijan, as he turns the corner and is wrestled down at the 46-yard line by Grimes.
So far, Texas has done a pretty good job, too, staying on schedule. Not a lot of negative plays so far for the Oklahoma Sooners to kind of disrupt things. Texas has been in great rhythm, both running and throwing the football.
2nd and 6. Ewers extending the play. Sidearms and nearly intercepted by Jaden Davis, who showed great body control along the sideline just to secure this.
Yeah, it was a great effort there. As you can see by Davis, just a little bit out of bounds. Ball was thrown pretty well. That's one that Worthy should definitely bring in. But a big down, I feel like it's same thing over and over again. Brent Venables here absolutely really needing a stop. Get the ball back to his offense and give this defense a much-needed blow on the sidelines.
3rd down and 6. Ewers trying to find an option. 3rd and 6, and Bijan Robinson twisting and turning and making that catch on 3rd down.
I mean, that's a ridiculous catch. I mean, this is not Worthy. This is not a receiver. This is a running back that is going back shoulder high, tiptoeing his feet right there on the sideline.
Ewers now, as he goes to helm the tight end. I mean, Sark said this to us yesterday. Bijan takes offense if somebody said you're not the best hands on the team.
I mean, that is an unbelievable catch. I mean, it's well covered, too. It's just a great throw and an unbelievable adjustment by the running back out of the backfield.
2nd and 5. And now in the traditional way, as he was just tripped up. He had an alley with the express lane to the end zone, but was just tripped up. And that was our Mason Thomas who made the tackle there. 3rd down and 1 with that.
Got a big 4-down territory for Texas.
Robinson untouched until that point, gliding for a 1st down. Texas offense has found their rhythm here. 14 more yards.
I mean, the tempo is killing. Look at Oklahoma. They're still trying to get the signal. They're looking to the sideline. When Texas snaps the ball, it's happened time and time and time again. They have to clean up their process on defense because they are looking to the sideline, and Bijan Robinson is already almost at the line of scrimmage. Got to simplify things defensively, or else they're going to continue to get gashed on the ground.
Look at all the pre-snap window dressing. Ewers, as he then checks down to J.T. Sanders. It was J.T. Sanders who was actually lined up in a wildcat before they shifted into the traditional formation with Ewers.
Steve Sarkisian in the great rhythm with his play calling. As a result, Oklahoma really can't get a feel for when the snap's coming. Sometimes he's up-tempo, sometimes he's slow, sometimes he's look back. Very difficult to settle in as a defense when you don't know exactly when the offense is snapping the football.
This is Robinson on 2nd and 6. Keelan Robinson will take it in for another Longhorns touchdown.
Now, Keelan Robinson will get the love, but Jordan Whittington should get the credit. Number 4 right there at the top of your screen, blocking, holding for as long as he possibly can as Robinson finds the corner. Just an excellent block out in front by the wide receiver.
That was Texas's shortest scoring drive so far. And it was 80 yards. They go 9 plays. They cap it with Robinson. Yours is 14 of 16, 178, and 2 touchdowns. And it is horns and horns and horns. 21 to zip. Game 2 of the best of 3 MLB wildcard series. They continue today at 4 on ESPN. Mariners, Blue Jays. Padres, Mets at 7:30. Much angst on the crew over that one. 8:30 on ESPN2. Phillies, Cardinals. 21-0 Texas. Kevin, what do you have going on?
Let's go to Long, staying in the Big 12. Number 19, Kansas, hosting number 17, TCU, after Jalen Daniels fumbled at the 1. Here comes TCU, Dan.
And Max Duggan, his athleticism creates big plays for them all over the field. You got to account for his legs.
99-yard turnaround for the Horned Frogs. Kendre Miller punching it in, 10-0 TCU. Back to you, Tess.
Early tears coming down the face of one Rob Riggle, who was the guest picker on College Game Day. He's out there at his alma mater. How about Kansas hosting Game Day for the first time?
Amazing. It's early, though. Kansas second half football team.
They go with a counter to Farouk, but there was so much traffic that they couldn't find anything.
So far, when you look at Texas's defensive front, this group has really come a long way from last year to this year, and they are certainly pushing some guys around in the trenches.
2nd and 10. This is Stoops on the handoff. Drake Stoops trying to get to the edge as he's out to the 30-yard line. Jalen Ford with the tackle of the slot receiver, redshirt senior.
I know we feel like we've said it about 5 or 6 times already. This feels like a really critical down for Oklahoma. Just get some momentum.
Got to find something. What do they have? 3rd and 6. Stoops thinking about passing. Then he tucks, runs, and just gets back to the line of scrimmage where he's met by Gilbo. And the rest of that pursuit as Keaton Crawford is in there as well.
This is just excellent discipline from Texas's defense. You got the double pass called up. Stoops gets to the outside. As you can see, they're trying to take advantage of Deshaun Jameson on a double move, but he stays over the top, stays at home, covers his guy, and forces the punt.
Turk on the punt, had an 85-yarder in this rivalry game a year ago. This a fair catch near the 30-yard line.
Guys, Bijan Robinson's grandfather, Cleo, was a Pac-12 official for decades. He finally retired this spring, which has allowed him to join his wife, Terry, to attend Bijan's games this fall. In the past, he'd watch the replays of Texas games so he could discuss his thoughts with his grandson. Now that he's here in person, they can have those conversations as soon as the game ends, breaking down plays, rehashing the best moments, and so far, they've got a lot to talk about, Tess.
They do. So Bijan used to go to games, watch Cleo officiate in the Pac-12 for 30 years, and now the family's so proud to see what Bijan has turned into, a superstar for the Horns. Pressure off the edge. Bijan picks it up. Ewers was left with little option but to try to hope Sanders could bail them out. 2nd and 10.
That was well played that time there as they tried to go with a little tight end screen, and Reggie Grimes was not fooled. He hung on right there at the end of the line of scrimmage to JT Sanders and really got Texas off schedule for one of the first times today. They're facing a 2nd and long.
They bring 3, drop 8 against Ewers. And incomplete will be a 3rd and long and an opportunity for the Oklahoma defense to get off the field. He was looking for Worthy.
Oklahoma there just opting to rush 3 guys in the front. Ewers did a nice job of buying time just a little bit high on the scramble drill. Let's see what Brent Venables tries to do here. He's dropped coverage, he's blitzed. Neither have been super successful today. If I were them, I would definitely be mindful of where number 4 is, Jordan Whittington. He's down here at the bottom of your screen. He's been a reliable target on third down.
They're 4 of 5 on third down. This a 3rd and 10 as Ewers had to drift all the way back to the 17-yard line. Good job by Jalen Redmond and that Sooners defense.
Excellent job there by Oklahoma. Quinn Ewers escaping to his right, but all the routes were back to the left. You're going to see guys going this way, and Ewers is going out to his right. There's nobody really home. So as you can see, well defended there by the Sooners.
Trejo, as he hits the knuckler to the 29-yard line. And now a quick word from Dr. Pepper.
It's time to make your college dreams a reality with a Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway. Visit drpeppertuition.com to learn how to enter for a chance to compete for $100,000 in tuition.
You look at that scoreboard, you see 3 touchdown deficit for Oklahoma. They understand how to deal with that. They did a year ago. Texas led 28-7 after 1 quarter. And they're back to Braden Willis taking the direct snap. And here is Willis. Remember, they had success with this personnel group in this formation earlier.
I think you have to stick with it, too. Now, at some point, Davis Bevel's going to have to get back there under center or in shotgun and be accurate throwing the football. Still a ton of time left. You have to put a drive together to get some points before half.
This is Farouk, and look at him turn the corner. Jalil Farouk, past midfield, still going.
Now, this is your worst nightmare as a quarterback. They have a nice run to the right side. You're stuck blocking. Look at number 11, Bevel. I was like, oh no, I'm getting out of the way. Ah! Great play there by Oklahoma's offense, but on this side of the 50s where they've had their struggles.
Willis tries to steamroll ahead, just a gain of 2. So 24 yards for Farouk on that play we saw. That is the longest of the game for Oklahoma.
As you can see, Oklahoma going to be very committed to the run game. Backup quarterback in the game. Haven't been many throws that he's really attempted that would be overly challenging. Hit a couple slants and tried to get a few things at or behind the line of scrimmage.
And he split out again as Davis Bevel, the backup to Dylan Gabriel, who gets the start today with Gabriel in concussion protocol. Eric Gray on 2nd and 9 takes the direct snap. Follows that lead block and is able to cut back. It'll be 3rd and short. Obviously down in distance, critical with what they're attempting to do. Stay on schedule. He goes for 7 yards. That helps for a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, 2 downs to get it. I'd run that exact same play with Willis up inside, leading on a linebacker. Be prepared to bounce it, though, against those big bodies up front.
Gray on 3rd and 2.
There it is.
And there it is. And Gray all the way down near the 20-yard line as Jahdae Barron had to ride him to the ground.
That was a good job there by Gray. Texas knew that that same play was coming. They called the exact same thing. Everything condensed between the tackles. Gray recognized it quickly, bounced it to the outside. And now he has them knocking on the door. And I like this. Don't go away from it if you're Jeff Levy.
And they don't. Gray's going to pop pass it, and it's intercepted. Barron's got it. They tried to change it up. Eric Gray took a step to the line, went with the pop pass, and Jahdae Barron picks it off. First turnover of the game, just when Oklahoma was finding something with a rhythm of those play calls.
And what a massive turn. As they're trying to hit Willis on a little bit of a jump pass, he gets a little collision, which causes the ball to flutter up in the air, and it's an easy interception for Barron as Texas denies. When it rains, it pours. This is a touchdown, if not for one defensive line stunned. Look at number 90, Byron Murphy. He loops to the outside, which slows down Willis, who's going to absolutely go right past the linebackers. Him slowing down right there at the line of scrimmage allows the defense to recover and make the play. Just a really, really unfortunate turn for Oklahoma.
Ewers decides to pull it down. So that was moments ago. Oklahoma was driving, and then Eric Gray goes for the jump pass, gets picked off, and still a 3-touchdown lead for Texas. Brent Venables looks up on the scoreboard and says, we got to find a way. And that's going to be a first down with Bijan Robinson. Oklahoma since 2019, the only team with multiple 21-point comeback wins. Of course, Horns fans know what happened last year, and Baylor found out in 2019. So put to the line again. Bijan Robinson kept his balance, basically did a squat to find something, and instead all he saw was pursuit down the line.
A little interesting with just how good Texas has been here in the first half of this football game offensively. The fact that they're not trying to work some of that tempo stuff that they've had success with, see if they can't steal some points, but probably feeling pretty good about how well they've played and don't want to make any major mistakes to give momentum back to the Sooners before half.
So after the tackle for loss by C.J. Colden, a 2nd and 13.
False start, number 65, offense. 5-yard penalty, so 2nd down.
Aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, road tested, game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. High above one of the great scenes in American sports, the AT&T Red River Showdown, the Cotton Bowl, and 92,000 here in Dallas. 2nd and 18, Bijan Robinson trying to get back to that original line of scrimmage. He's close, just beyond the 30-yard line. That was the first penalty of the game for either team that we just had.
I think right here, Oklahoma calling a timeout, see if they can't preserve a little clock to go steal some points themselves.
Timeout. Oklahoma facing a 3rd and 11. Let's go to the studio and Kevin.
The State Farm halftime report just minutes away. Michigan right now struggling on the road. Can't say the same thing for Mississippi State and Tennessee in their offenses. And Kansas facing their first real adversity at home.
Yeah, quarterback's hurt, so how are they going to figure out a way to manufacture some offense?
And they found a way to do it in the last couple of weeks of finding ways to win, but they're going to need that crowd, that college game, everybody getting behind that team to find a way to win.
We'll have highlights and, of course, an update on Jalen Daniels' status as he went down with a shoulder injury. We'll see if the Jayhawks can get him back. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. We've been throwing this out about Oklahoma in recent years, overcoming the 21-point deficit. Probably some people saying, yeah, but Dylan Gabriel's not playing quarterback right now. How are they going to get it done?
I mean, they got to start by running the football. And really, ultimately, doesn't matter what their offense does if their defense doesn't start playing better, especially against the run. Giving up a lot of big plays here in the first half of this football game.
See if the Sooners defense can get a stop on 3rd and 11. When Ewers pressured, he's going to tuck, run, try to get there, and he does. And, in fact, dives ahead all the way to the 46. So Ewers does it with the legs. 16-yard run.
Big conversion there from Quinn Ewers. Not the most mobile, but you saw very capable, though, on a broken play.
And now off of play action. Crowd wanted a flag as J.T. Sanders was well covered.
As you can see, Ewers stepping up, didn't like anything downfield, and Oklahoma dropping all the way deep in coverage, knowing that Ewers has not been a guy that moves to run. He moves to try to allow guys to uncover and then throws the football. So a good job of him recognizing that no Sooner defenders' eyes were on him and picking up a big 3rd down conversion.
Look at these offensive numbers and the advantages for Texas today. Whether it's yards and passing yards and first down or yards per play. Roshan Johnson gives a little something at the end of that crossing midfield. Over a minute until we get to Kevin and Booger and Coach Mullen at halftime. And 3 timeouts remain for Texas and Sark to use. Ewers on 3rd and 4. It's another first down as he gets it to Gunnar Helm, the sophomore from Inglewood, Colorado. Justin Broyles with the tackle.
It's about right now when you start to think about using those timeouts. You remember that last timeout as a quarterback, that's for the kicker. All right, so you cannot take any negative plays, and you have to continue to try to work the middle of the field. You have 2 at your disposal, but the last one you can't burn. That one's to try to steal the 3 before the half.
See how Ewers manages the final half minute here. How about taking a strike with it? And the flag will come out. Xavier Worthy was the target. Kendall Dennis had coverage.
Pass interference, number 21, defense. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
A difficult spot there for Kendall Dennis going against one of the fastest, most explosive wide receivers in college football in a one-on-one situation. And this is something that's hurt Oklahoma the last couple weeks. Their corners on islands, especially on deep balls, being able to track the football. They've been called time and time again for pass interference. So a good aggressive throw there by Ewers. And another penalty that's going to have Oklahoma on their heels.
Down to the 24-yard line with 24 seconds remaining. Ewers, look at this. J.T. Sanders. Every which way, it is burnt and orange. It is Texas Longhorns, and it is a heck of a first half out of Quinn Ewers.
What a throw on the seam. It's pretty well covered. It's pretty well defended, but you have a big body tight end with speed and athleticism working vertical. So difficult to defend. He drops it right over the top of the underneath defender, and Sanders finds the end zone.
Ewers is making it look easy, isn't it? He may want to go get one of those Fletcher's corn dogs and just chill out for a while.
Yes, surprisingly, Quinn Ewers and J.T. Sanders, they used to throw to one another when they were back in high school at Carroll and Ryan, respectively. Quinn actually reached out to J.T. via Instagram, and the two would just meet up. They'd work out, so they had a relationship before Ewers decided to transfer back to UT. They've, of course, grown closer since becoming teammates. Ewers says he likes throwing to big targets. J.T. says, well, I'm happy to provide.
And I love that. So Sanders grew up, if you know the Metroplex, he's from up in Denton. He went to Ryan High School up there. And Ewers is from the great tradition of South Lake Carroll High School, Greg McElroy. So they'd meet halfway, get their throws in, and here they are as Horn teammates. And here they are shredding the Sooners defense.
I remember back in my day, if you went through with a Denton Ryan player as a South Lake player, your buddies would never talk to you again.
Things have changed. I mean, listen, in college
they
football,
were the
things
enemy. Like, no, you cannot mess around with Denton Ryan. They were so good.
Bro, we got a sport where a starting wide receiver for Georgia transferred to Alabama after the national championship game. Things have changed mightily.
No doubt.
Here's Farouk on the return from his 1-yard line. Just hoping for something. He's wrestled down to 19. Tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, Micah Parsons, Aaron Donald, All Access, and Randy Moss always ranking the best catches from today's college football action. It's 10 a.m. Eastern. And then Monday Night Football, Raiders, Chiefs, 8 Eastern on ESPN and Deportes. And Monday Night Countdown will get you started at 6 p.m. Eastern. The last time that Texas shut out Oklahoma in the first half of the Red River, 1984. That game ended up being 15-15, the old school tie. We don't do that anymore. Thank goodness. But right now, Oklahoma needs to find anything, absolutely anything they can. And it's an interception. It is Deshaun Jameson who sat back and just got on the jackpot end of that Bevel Rainbow. Davis Bevel said, let me launch one here and see if the slot machine lands our way. It didn't. It landed with Jameson.
And what a way to cap off. I mean, essentially a flawless first half of football for the Texas Longhorns. They've now doubled up their season turnovers. The offense has been, for the most part, unstoppable. Just flawless execution on both sides of the ball from the Longhorns, and a lot of things for the Sooners to iron out here in the second half of this football game.
And as that young man, number 3, takes the field, you think about all the hype he had coming out of high school, as #1 quarterback, and then well-documented gap year spent at Ohio State, and comes back home. You got a glimpse of Ewers against Alabama. You said, oh my, what do they have here? And then you see what he has done as Bijan Robinson will just add to his total here and get his triple zeros on the clock. Quinn Ewers, 211 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. They had the big lead last year and couldn't hold on. Something feels different at 28-0 here at the Cotton Bowl. The AT&T Red River Showdown. State Farm halftime report is still to come after these messages and a word from our ABC station. High above the Cotton Bowl, it is the AT&T Red River Showdown on ABC, presented by Arby's. Quinn Ewers with 3 touchdown passes for the Horns, 28-0 in the Red River Showdown. Moments ago, Katie was with Coach Sark.
Coach, certainly a lot of football still to be played, but what did you think of Quinn and the offense's execution in the first half?
Well, I thought we found some rhythm after the first drive. We stubbed our toe on the one drive, but we're running the ball, so it's allowing us to mix things up.
Defensively, you've been all over it. Just when they seem to get some rhythm, you forced the interception. What needs to continue on that side?
Well, the Wildcats causing us some issues, and they got different forms of it, so we got to settle in there on the Wildcat, make sure we're making them earn everything they're getting.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Now, the Wildcat did have moments of success. Davis Bevel, who's starting at quarterback for Oklahoma in place of Dylan Gabriel, who's in concussion protocol. Just 4 of 8 passing for 31 yards and an interception. The Sooners will have the ball to start this second half. Greg, they've gone punt, they've gone turnover on downs, they've gone punt, they've gone punt, they've gone interception, they've gone interception. That's the first half offense for Oklahoma.
It's been a struggle, and when you're without your starting quarterback, it's going to be. Ultimately, they have to try to run the football. They have to try to take some of the pressure off. But look, you're not going to get in a race a 4-touchdown deficit by being one-dimensional. They're going to have to start mixing up the looks and giving Davis Bevel the opportunity to hit some of these playmaking wide receivers in space. But either way, it's not going to matter if their defense doesn't play better. I mean, their defense is really substandard in the first half, and that's been much the case each of the last few weeks.
They are back to the formation with Willis taking the direct snap. As he gives to Gray, and Gray able to turn the corner and go ahead for 11 yards and a first down to start the second half.
Tess, Greg, Brent Venables told his team at half, they're going to write what they see. And let me tell you, you will not like what they write. So let's go change the narrative in this second half. Show we have some gut, toughness, and an edge.
Farouk. And great pursuit down the line. I think he lost a yard as Deshaun Jameson was able to get to Jalil Farouk.
I think that's a good point, Katie, is look, Texas has not been a great second half team the last couple years, so at least you can kind of point to that if you're Oklahoma, but you have to get points on this first drive. Willis
is trying to power ahead for something. It'll be 3rd down and 8. It has been tough trying to throw the ball. Fewest passing yards Oklahoma had in the first half since 2014. 2014. And now a 3rd and 8 with Bevel at quarterback. Third down and 8. Goes underneath to Barnes, and Barnes is going to be short of that line to gain. He only got 6 yards there. Javante Barnes tackled by Diamante Tucker-Dorsey.
Yeah, I think you have to go for it here if you're Oklahoma. I mean, nothing indicated in the first half that you'd be able to slow down Texas. So you got to stay aggressive, obviously. As said, first drive of the third quarter, most important drive of the game. They absolutely have to get some points.
4th and 2 from your own 44. Bevel. He lost a yard. A turnover on downs to start the second half as Diamante Tucker Dorsey stayed with Devis Bevel and made the tackle.
This is just so well defended by Texas. There's absolutely nothing there. You see 4, 5, 6 Texas Longhorns in pursuit defensively. And as you can see right down the line, as Steve Sarkisian is fired up. So much of the emphasis for Texas this entire offseason and then early here in the 2022 season has been about the third quarter. We'll get to the fourth quarter, is what Sark said he constantly says, is we got to win the third quarter. And a good start there for the Horns.
Now Robinson patiently looked for something, cuts back against the grain, and is able to get it to the 37-yard line where Aguebu makes the tackle for the Sooners. John Robinson goes for 7 yards, so now he is over 100 yards. He's at 102, had the touchdown to open up the game. And you will get a hefty dose of him in the second half, no doubt about it. As he adds to it and moves the sticks. Tackled by Jaden Davis for Oklahoma.
If I'm Steve Sarkisian, this would be where I'd put the dagger and I'd throw it right at this defense. 1st and 10, 31-yard line, taking a shot downfield. Line up and explode to a good, solid set. Heavy play action, see if you can't get one-on-one.
There's the play action. Here's Ewers. Is this the dagger Greg spoke of? Out of the back of the end zone is Xavier Worthy, but they went with the play call you expected, G-Mac.
Absolutely. I mean, plus territory, fresh set of downs. They just ran out a little bit of room. 31-yard line starting to get a little bit tight. If that play is from, say, the 40 or the 45, that's an easy touchdown for the Longhorns, as Worthy was just going to run right beyond the defense. Right there, just a yard too long as they tried to throw it deep on the condensed field.
Worthy almost visited Bevo after the end of that play. Back to Bijan Robinson. Nice cut there. Get it to the 25-yard line. The 3rd and short.
And what a luxury to know that you can take a shot on first down, even if it misses. Long foul ball, so be it. You still have an All-American running back that you can hand it to on 2nd down to make it 3rd and manageable. It's really easy to be a play caller when you know you can make 3rd and manageable at a 2nd and long, even if you have a long incompletion.
Johnson, the running back, on 3rd and 3. That combination of size and power, and with that power, he leans into it for a first down to the 20-yard line. Goes ahead for 4. Roschon Johnson, who's been clocked at 22.6 miles per hour. Think about that. You got Bijan and then Roschon Johnson, who, any place else, he's a featured back.
No doubt. I mean, he is exceptionally talented. And if you talk to the Texas staff, I don't know if Sark has a favorite player, but Roschon Johnson's in the mix. And we'll tell you why in just a minute.
As Robinson is upended. He's a very impressive young man. He's in the Macomb School of Business, has a 3.5 GPA. Came in, visited us for a little bit in the meeting. Very impressive.
Yeah, he'll do anything. I mean, anything you want him to do, Roschon Johnson's willing to do that. And being a backup to Bijan Robinson's not easy, but he'll play on Sundays. And hopefully at the end of the year, he'll be honored as a National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete, as one of the top student athletes in college football.
2nd and 9. Ewers, look at how wide open, but just slightly beyond Jordan Whittington. Had a little something on it and was high, and Whittington slow to get up at the end of that play.
Just a hair high there. Whittington, of course, wide open on the wheel route. Just a little bit too far. One of the few misses we've seen from Quinn Ewers today. Just barely off the mark.
Third down and 9, or 7 of 9 on the day on converting on 3rd down.
Oklahoma showing pressure off the right-hand side. Venables making the adjustment. Let's see if They now drop back into coverage.
Ewers on 3rd and 9 was forced back. And this ball is intercepted. He tried to float it out, but C.J. Colden with the interception.
It doesn't matter how much arm talent you have. Quinn Ewers can go with anybody throwing the football. You throw it off your back foot, it's going to be very, very difficult, especially from the far hash, to throw it out of bounds. You see him retreat. You kind of see him throw a fadeaway jumper. It doesn't come out of his hand clean. It's quacking on the way down, and it's an easy interception there for Oklahoma's defense. Just really bad decision there from Ewers on consecutive plays. Really the first 2 off plays you've seen from him today, as he's tapping on his chest saying, that one's on me. If there's one part of Quinn Ewers' game that he can certainly improve, it's his footwork. And that will all come in time. He's a young player. We referenced earlier in the show. He left high school early to capitalize on name, image, and likeness, and missed out on a full year of reps as a senior. Went and played the scout team, and when you're the scout team quarterback, try to work on your fundamentals. But yeah, let's be honest, you're also going to see what you can pull off as well. So honing in on his footwork is the next step of his development. And when he does, he'll be pretty close to unstoppable.
They're placing the ball at the 31-yard line after Colden, transfer from Wyoming, had the interception and the short return. Marcus Major is going to be taking the direct snap now. And Texas knows exactly what is coming time and again as Ford makes the tackle on Major. Reminder, Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. Number 5 Clemson taking on BC up in Chestnut Hill, 7:30 on ABC. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, Molly McGrath, who's a BC alumnus, on the call. And, of course, a special night up there as they honor Wells Crowder, the red bandana game, one of the great newer traditions in college football to honor a true American hero. And as Major takes it aside, and obviously, you know, BC's had their struggles this year, but anytime they go on the field in those uniforms, representing an American hero who saved lives on 9/11, they play with an edge.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And Boston College, they're a different team in the red bandana game. As you see the collision there with Marcus Major, very, very close. That when Barron went in for the tackle, his head was down, but he did not initiate contact with the crown of the helmet. So you got to see what you're hitting there, because had that running back been a little bit more forward, he might have been tossed.
3rd and 8. Marcus Major only gets maybe a half a yard. Anthony Cook was there. Oklahoma is just 2 of 10 on 3rd down now. 2 of 10.
I mean, at some point, I know that Davis Bevel is not necessarily equipped to be able to throw it all over the yard the way Dylan Gabriel or past quarterbacks have done, but I mean, are you just trying to keep it respectable, or are you trying to make it interesting? Like, I think you got to at least let him cut it loose and just see what he can do. And I think running the ball with Wildcat in the 4-touchdown deficit is way too conservative. Throw caution to the wind.
Especially on 3rd and long, right? I mean, you're doing half the defense's job for them.
You get a turnover, you steal a possession, and then you run it a couple times. I mean, it's not what you want to see if you're an Oklahoma fan.
Greg, you hungry? You can get yourself to the midway. Maybe get one of those big Texas turkey legs. Greg, we had an athletic trivia question. Texas and Oklahoma unranked in this rivalry. Last time that happened was '98. We're asking who were the head coaches back then. Right now it's 28-0 Texas.
Sad part is that was my first game.
Was it really?
Yeah.
You and Big Mac came?
I know Coach Stoops got there in '99.
Right, Ricky Williams.
So I want to say Mac Brown, and I don't remember who was the coach before that. Is that bad?
Nothing there for Bijan. Hey, what's going on, Kevin Nagandi?
Taz, time now for our mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate. Let's go to Lawrence. No Jalen Daniels, the backup for Kansas. Jason Bean to Luke Grimm here, Dan.
Scrambles around, finds a guy by himself. Holy moly, he's by himself in the back of the end zone.
Holy moly, had both feet in, too. That's a touchdown on Sundays, Tess.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of holy moly.
I like the holy moly
with
reference.
Riddle and all his Kansas gear. Woody Washington is still down on the field at the end of that play, the starting corner for the Sooners. Listen, it's exciting for everybody attached to Kansas to finally have this kind of a season. As they're getting after it against TCU, we'll take a short break. Washington's up walking off. We asked the Athletic Trivia question. Last time these two teams were unranked playing in this rivalry. Got to go back to 98. Who were the head coaches?
I know Mac Brown was one.
John Blake the other.
I should know that.
Mac's first season, and then, of course, with Blake, it would be Stoops who came in and was hired at the end of that year. And you know the great history that then followed with Bob Stoops. Where Stoops was the Florida defensive coordinator with Spurrier, coming off all that success in Gainesville in the 90s. There's Ewers on 2nd and 7 as he gets it complete to J.T. Sanders. As the umpire was the closest defender that ever had a shot there. There's 9 yards on the first.
Umpire there standing in zone coverage. Just trying to negotiate that zone. Good concentration.
I think he's in the wrong section, Greg.
As you can see, the ump right there, just almost getting out of the way. Thankfully, he's okay, though.
Roschon Johnson, as he goes ahead. You know, you mentioned Roschon Johnson before in terms of just being the guy that would do anything. Remember when he came into the program, he came in as a true freshman trying to compete with Sam Ellender for the quarterback job.
Yeah, and he was asked to transition to running back, and the rest is history.
2nd and 7, Ewers easily goes to Whittington for another first down, and they're inside the 30. This thing could get sideways beyond.
Nice throw here from Ewers, too. Talked a second ago on the interception. Now he kind of threw it off his back foot. This time he kind of throws it off his back foot, but drops it right over the top of the defender and right into the hands of Whittington. Just an excellent job as Whittington works across, and Ewers layering the football for another big completion.
Johnson continues to get some work. Redmond with the tackle.
It's a big opportunity for Brent Venables to really evaluate his team, specifically his defensive players. They've been rolling a lot of different guys. They've been playing young guys, some older guys. Watching the effort on this drive in particular will be very valuable to see who's with you and who's against you down the road.
That's a very good point. Just simply effort at this point. When you see a score like this, when you've been dealing with the past 2 weeks alone, as Xavier Worthy with another catch, another 16 yards, another Texas first down. 7 different Texas receivers have caught a pass.
You can learn a lot about the people on your team and the culture of your team. Even though it's year one and a transition, you can learn a lot in games like this. Right now, it's obviously looking like it's going to be Texas's day, but plenty still to prove for the Oklahoma players on the field right now.
Bijan Robinson, he's going to walk it right in. He could downshift and bring it in. Grandpa Cleo and the family high-fiving as Bijan has another touchdown. This one from 11 yards out. It's got 128 yards and 2 touchdowns today.
Just absolutely stealing. Well secured there on the end of the line of scrimmage. Perfectly blocked. And Bijan untouched into the end zone as he is continuing to pour into the stat column of what's been a very impressive day.
Remember, Katie told us all about Cleo, his grandfather, who spent 30 years as a Pac-12 official. He used to put his arms up in the air, signaling touchdown for other stars. Now it's his grandson that does it time and again.
Kevin Agati back in studio, checking on our 4 box here. Tennessee in complete control in Death Valley over on ESPN. Mizzou and Florida, pretty good one with the Tigers driving on ESPNU. Mississippi State all over Arkansas on the SEC network. And, you know, Tess, who's going to score first? The Rays, the Guardians, or Oklahoma? That's a big question in the studio.
That is a question. Could they be shut out here? Katie George, what's going on?
Well, Cleo Robinson got to witness a lot of great running backs in the Pac-12 as an official in that league. He was front and center when Reggie Bush played at USC. Here's the Bush push. Right there is Cleo Robinson. He would bring home the tape of Reggie Bush and he would show it to Bijan as a young kid. He said, you need to watch this guy. He can do it all. That could be you in the future. It's why Bijan wears that number 5 across his chest.
It's great to watch him run. I remember that game vividly too, right? Like everyone was losing their mind because the grass at Notre Dame Stadium was like a foot long. So Cleo right there just running right down the line. No problem with the long grass.
Willis tackled for a loss.
This might come as a surprise, guys, but I was 9 years old at that game in the Notre Dame stands.
You went to that game?
It's my first Notre Dame game ever. Notre Dame fans were crying in the stands, obviously, based on the way that thing went down.
What a wild game.
Amazing his grandfather was a part of one of the biggest plays of that generation of college football. Second and 12. Davis Bevel can go with the screen. No shot. And with his grandfather being an official, this is how you return the ball after the score. Here you go, sir. Thank you very much.
Little Barry Sanders right there, too.
Exactly. Please to be proud.
He's visited the end zone many times. And certainly he will not act like it's his first time there in the end zone. That's for sure.
And we always talk about it's like playing a home game and a road game at the same time. And right now, facing a 3rd and 12, Davis Bevel is finding out what it feels like to be in front of that Texas section, that Texas half of the Cotton Bowl. And it goes incomplete. It would have just been about a 2-yard gain as Jalen Ford broke it up. What a long day for Davis Bevel. 5'11", 37 yards and an interception. And Oklahoma, just think about what it is to be an Oklahoma quarterback through the recent generation, right? With Baker and Tyler and Jalen, and, you know, to see an Oklahoma quarterback's line that's 5 of 11 for 37 yards and an interception. Their 3rd 3-and-out, 5th punt. Michael Turk kicks away. Fair catch by Worthy. Well, we opened up the day talking about the great rivalry moments. Flag is down at the end there at the 50-yard line. This has provided so many great moments through years.
It is exclusively the reason why I'm a diehard college football fan. I remember it vividly. 2001, Superman. Roy Williams goes over the top, forces the fumble in a low-scoring game. Then, a couple years later, this was Vince Young's coming out party. Replaced Chance Mock. Gave Texas life early, had a 59-yard run. They ended up losing like 65-13. And then a couple years later, I was a junior in high school in 2004. And I remember watching Adrian Peterson that day here in this stadium, thinking to myself, there is absolutely no way that dude's 2 years older than me. It was a true freshman.
That's a grown man out
like
there.
That, if he's going to play football, I can't play football at this level. Because if that's how they play, I got no shot.
You know, I love the personal reflections of somebody who grew up in the Metroplex in this area, what this game means. But this game is greatly significant for guys like me, too, and the booth support here with McStats and Calhoun. We were all talking about this. If you were elsewhere in the country, this was the game.
Right.
This was the singular national game with Keith Jackson sitting right where we are right now. So in many ways, this defined college football for the rest of the country. This was the window, the prism by which you saw the sport. Batted away and falling harmlessly to the ground, and that was a forward pass, so they will bring it back. And that's really Texas and OU to its core of defining and shaping the sport through all these years. It was Ethan Downs who made the play there for the Sooners.
Yeah, it's an amazing rivalry, and I think anyone that loves the sport, I mean, it's the most impactful rivalry in the world to me. Of course, like I played in the Iron Bowl, and there's plenty of games that I was involved in that mean a lot to me. But this one, I mean, this is why I love the sport. This is why I love college football. I'm not sure there's a better environment in the game.
Worthy took a hard hit at the end of that play as he found out from Trey Morrison.
Big collision here. As Morrison comes in. Good job putting his head to the side. He delivers a blow. I'd recommend probably not saying much after a hit like that, given the current circumstances on the scoreboard.
Roshan Johnson will have the first down, and then he is swung out of bounds by Key Lawrence. There are certain parts of the Cotton Bowl that have sections thinned out, not the sections in burnt orange. They want to sit back and enjoy every second of this. Look at the effort from Johnson. And that is exactly who he is.
Just a great run here. Pretty well stacked up there in the backfield, as you can see. Runs through Key Lawrence and a couple other Sooners, and then finishes the run on the sideline. This young man might take a backseat to Bijan Robinson, but there's certainly no shame in that. He's had a great career, and of course will leave Austin with a couple degrees and a lot of people positively impacted by his presence.
Johnson on the short pitch is tackled right down the line. Ulu coming up with the tackle for the Sooners.
Timeout. Texas. It's their first of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
Big 12 now is on ESPN Plus. Of course, college basketball season will be coming your way. So over 50 games there. You have women's basketball, all the Olympic sports, the conference championship events. You can sign up at ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now.
What a time to be alive if you're a Big 12 fan right now. I can't, and I grew up a Big 12 fan. That's my bread and butter. Of course, the old school Big 12, right, with Colorado and Nebraska and Missouri and several others, obviously, but and A&M. I grew up with that group of the Big 12, but I honestly don't think that I can recall a time in which the Big 12 is deeper and has better quality throughout. I mean, it is phenomenal. Team 10 right now, West Virginia, who's 0-2, I think they can play with anybody. And I really don't know if there's a deeper league in college football.
That's really what you want, is you want the middle and the bottom to be that good. To the end zone and add to the day for Quinn Ewers and JT Sanders. 18-yard touchdown. Texas has had all these long scoring drives. Opened up the game with a 90-yard scoring drive. Then they went 92, 80, 79, 76. This was just 47 yards. Now, this is just a 47-yard touchdown drive. Honestly. All day long, it has been this way. Quinn Ewers with 4 touchdown passes. Absolute domination. And this tight end, Sanders, he's a very dangerous weapon.
He's especially dangerous when you have a dynamic number 1, like number 8, Xavier Worthy. There he is over here on the right-hand side, double covered. What does that allow for? Single coverage for Sanders there in the red zone. Look at the 2 Sooner defenders following number 8, Worthy. That opens up one-on-one on the post route, crossing face with the big body Sanders. When you have a dynamic wide receiver, you can't leave him in one-on-one. Sooners know that. They doubled Worthy. But if you double him, you're going to have one-on-ones elsewhere. And if you have a guy that can consistently win his one-on-ones and use his size speed advantage against the defender, that's going to be incredibly difficult to defend.
That feels really good for that crowd after last year, right? When they had that big lead and then Oklahoma roared back, had the direct snap with 3 seconds left in the game with Brooks. Of course, Caleb Williams was playing quarterback for Oklahoma in that game. Here they come into a game where their starting quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, is in concussion protocol. Katie?
You know, Sanders was a 5-star recruit, a top 10 player in the country, but he didn't start a year ago. He played sparingly on offense. He played on kickoff return, punting, but he never griped or asked, why am I not playing? Instead, he just worked to become a well-rounded tight end. His blocking's improved. He's become a great leader, Steve Sarkisian says, and now he starts on 3 special teams, and he's clearly a playmaker in the passing game. He didn't have to play as a true freshman, which allowed him to develop into a great player.
He's phenomenal, and I mean, there's just nothing you love more right now in college football than a versatile weapon. I mean, he can play fullback. You can line him up as a wildcat quarterback if you want to, and then you can split him out wide. I mean, he's just a major problem and a headache for every defensive coordinator he'll face.
And swinging out of the backfield with Barnes.
I think what's most interesting about Ja'Tavion Sanders is the fact that if Steve Sarkisian's Brent Venables, for instance, a defensive-minded head coach, he might be playing defensive end. You know?
Yes.
So
When he's that level of athlete.
He's that type of player, and those conversations happen all the time. I mean, tight end or defensive end, which one do you want to be? And with Steve Sarkisian knowing the importance of that position to his offense, deciding to move into the offense, clearly a great decision for the Longhorns.
Barnes, just a couple of yards. Let's find out what's going on with Michigan and Indiana.
Yes, let's go to Bloomington, Michigan, retaking the lead in Indiana. J.J. McCarthy here, boom to Cornelius Johnson.
Yeah, anytime you have man coverage, little crossing route, the referee picked the defender, and then he did the rest.
And the Wolverines right now leading 17-10 midway through the third quarter. Back to you.
Of course, Booger using the P word, pick. It's a rub, Boog. It's not a pick. Rub, that's what offensive guys call it. Defensive guys call it pick. Tell Coach Mullen to school you up in there.
42-0 and a 3rd down and 7. Last time Texas shut out Oklahoma was 19-zip in 1965. 1965. And there's been just a hopelessness in watching the Oklahoma offense.
Full start, number 66, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And of course, you think of any game, Oklahoma being shut out. Generationally, one of the great offenses we've seen in a couple generations of college football consistently with the program. You got to go back to 1998 against A&M. 311 straight games without being shut out. And here we're coming to the end of the 3rd, and it's a 3rd and 12. And it's a sack as Byron Murphy sacks Davis Bevel. That's their 2nd today. And that is how this 3rd quarter is going to come to an end. 42-0 Texas in one of the great American rivalries, as one-sided as we have seen. That golden hat is going to have a new home. AT&T Red River Showdown on ABC, presented by Arby's, returns after this message and a word from our ABC station. Glad you're with us watching the Big 12 Conference on ABC. One of the most unique settings in all of college football, where the great divide happens at the 50-yard line. Right now, we still have half of the Cotton Bowl completely filled with revelers in burnt orange. And as we start this 4th quarter, and it's Worthy on the return to the 46. See what they do at quarterback here for Texas to close this game out is Quinn Ewers has 289 yards and 4 touchdowns.
This would be a spot if I'm Steve Sarkisian, give him one play and then take your entire starting lineup out to a standing ovation, because it's been an absolute clinic offensively today, led by Quinn Ewers and the rest of this Longhorn offense.
Nice way to come back off the injury. And just darting right through the defense is Kalen Robinson. Transfer from Bama a couple years ago from Washington, D.C. originally.
And just totally misplayed by Oklahoma's defense. There's nobody in the gap between the center and the right guard. That's the A gap. It's the one you have to protect the most if you're a defense, because any running back that hits it vertically at 100 miles an hour and there's nobody there, you got major issues. Just really poorly defended as the run defensive woes for Oklahoma continue.
5 plays now over 20 yards, Greg, for Texas.
False start, number 65, offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, first down.
We encourage you to help those affected by Hurricane Ian. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN. Help the Red Cross prepare, respond, and help those recover from the disaster. So glad that we have a couple of our crew members back with us this week after they were with their families, trying to make sure their homes are safe. It's been very impressive to see what's happened now for the past 7 days in Southwest Florida as the road to recovery continues. Robinson just a yard there. Last time Oklahoma shut out in any game, 1998 against Texas A&M. Got Ohio State and Michigan State coming up at 4 on ABC. 311 straight games without being shut out. As that clock counts down and a 0 is in the column for Oklahoma. Robinson again before he is brought down. It was Key Lawrence with the tackle for the Sooners. Greg, you brought up that you can find out a lot about your team when you get in a spot like this. You use the word effort, focus.
Very much. I mean, as you're in a state of transition, year one's always hard. I don't care what anyone says. You can. I think I played for the greatest coach of all time, and we went 6-6 in the regular season year one. It's difficult. You can find out a lot about the guys you're going to build your program with in the future in situations like this.
Jonathan Brooks getting work now in the backfield for Texas.
Of course, as Brent Venables looks on, his expertise being on the defense side of the football. They have a lot of things to clean up, and I think first and foremost, finding an identity on that side of the ball is probably of the utmost importance. They've been kind of flip-flopping between looks and things like that, and it's difficult when you don't really know who you are to play good quality defense.
Brooks again, and look at him go! And it's another Texas touchdown, Jonathan Brooks. We're going from looking at the record book for shutouts of Oklahoma to starting to consider largest margin of victory ever in this rivalry. And this score is going to finish so out of control, wacky. Jonathan Brooks, Bijan Robinson, and Roshan Johnson are long gone from this game. And now guys like Kalen Robinson and Jonathan Brooks get playing time, and it doesn't change.
They just continue to pound them on the ground, and Oklahoma's defense wants none of it. It's all Longhorns here in Dallas as the hat is headed back to the Lone Star State.
(49-0). Texas offense has been flawless. Texas defense has been perfect. And they've been disciplined as a team. Only 2 penalties. Only 10 yards in penalties. Kevin, what's up, man?
Plenty of offense on both sides. Back to Lawrence here, tie game. TCU's Max Duggan. Check out this catch from Tay Barber.
Pretty unbelievable right there. Over 2 defenders, gets the foot down in the corner of the end zone.
Right now, TCU up 31-24 over Kansas. Back to you.
They started there with game day, and it's a thrower throughout. College football rankings brought to you by Capital One.
And as you can see, no one making a bigger statement outside of maybe Texas today. Tennessee going on the road to LSU, absolutely throttling the Bayou Bengals. That one surprised me. I thought LSU would play well. And then, of course, you can see some of the other games coming up later this afternoon.
Ohio State and Michigan State right here on ABC. It's a sack by Keandre Coburn. So Big Ten action, 4 o'clock right here on ABC. And then Clemson at Boston College on Red Bandana Night up in Chestnut Hill tonight. I think the BC offensive line is going to have their struggles with Clemson's defensive line in that one. But let me tell you something. Mr. Zay Flowers can go over the top, maybe create some excitement against Clemson. So we still got great football coming your way throughout the rest of the day and night right here on ABC. 2nd and 14. Javonte Barnes tried to get to the edge. Good-looking true freshman from Las Vegas. Had a 100-yard game against TCU. Oklahoma's largest margin of defeat in this series is 33 points. That was in 41 and 2005.
Pretty good year for the Longhorns back in
you think?
2005.
Pretty decent backfield.
Pretty good players on that team. What's crazy is, I mean, you look at Texas and what could have been, right? I mean, you lose a nail-biter at the gun to Alabama. No shame in that, right? You have a 14-point lead in the 4th quarter against Texas Tech, only to lose there in overtime to the Red Raiders. I mean, this team is dangerously close to being a team that's ranked maybe in the top 7 or 8 if those 2 games go their way. So this team is really close to being outstanding and well-respected nationally.
So Jet Bush walk off with the trainers. 3rd down and 12. Bevel. He's going to be sacked again. 4th time that's happened. Binkley with the sack. I think you're right with your assessment. Of course, Texas Tech game, that's without your star quarterback. And Bijan fumbled on the first play of overtime. And then Alabama, and that was a great effort.
As you can see, just the pass rush relentless there from the Longhorn offense, as Davis Bevel doesn't have much of a chance at all. You referenced it. I mean, the backup quarterback situation is certainly a conversation that needs to be had nationally in college football. The importance of having a high-quality backup and just how those guys can factor into the long-term health of your season.
Of course, quarterbacks transfer left and right. So who sticks around to be your backup? But give credit to Hudson Card, who didn't for Texas, and gave them great play, including last week. May have been his best as a Horn. 49 to zip. Will we see him? Last time we saw Quinn Ewers was that first half against Alabama. Leaves with the clavicle injury, comes back today, and has looked fantastic. Right?
Been very accurate with the football. The offensive line's done a beautiful job keeping his jersey clean. But he's been very accurate throwing the ball down the field and constantly taking advantage of both tight coverage and wide open coverage. They haven't busted the coverages that they've had the last couple weeks, so he's had to earn it, man. And man, he's made throw after throw and made it look easy in the process.
So Hudson Card comes into the game. Last week had the win against West Virginia, start 3 straight games, had 3 touchdowns last week. And they are quick to laud him, Katie.
You know, each week, Texas players and coaches write letters to teammates or members within the program, someone they appreciate or are inspired by. The letters are then handed out on Friday before Saturday's game. This week, Steve Sarkisian wrote a letter to Hudson Card, thanking him for what he's done for the team the last few weeks, gutting it out and playing through the ankle injury. Sark said, we owe a lot to Hudson for what he's done for us these past couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that what you want in a leader?
100%. Right. And the importance, I mean, look at Oklahoma's circumstances today. I mean, you have to have a backup quarterback, and it's more difficult than ever to keep them because they're in hot pursuit via the portal.
Everybody's looking to be the man. Where can I play?
And it's understandable, but think about the teams that have already been impacted this year with quarterback injuries. Notre Dame's one. Right now, Kansas, their quarterback situation, Jalen Daniels been amazing. He's sidelined, and the backup is giving them a chance. Max Duggan, TCU, he started the season as a backup. I mean, there are a handful of examples in which maybe today, still uncertain about Bryce Young. Jalen Milroe might get his first start for Alabama. Louisville currently cruising in the fourth quarter with a backup quarterback. I mean, you have to have a second guy, and if you don't, you could be in real trouble.
They're down in 5 Brooks, but I just love what that report Katie gave about how Sark appreciates this young man. Is so grateful for what he's done and the effort that he's put forth.
And especially thinking, too, last year, as Hudson Card gets an ovation as he leaves the field, he was at less than 100%. He's had an ankle injury the last few weeks. But also, remember, he was the opening day starter for Steve Sarkisian, got replaced by Casey Thompson in the second game of the year. So he endured disappointment last season. Would have been very easy for him to say, no way, I'm out of here, I want a fresh start. He didn't. He stuck with it and got good opportunity to get an awful lot of reps the last couple weeks.
Jaden Blue, true freshman from Houston, Texas, in at running back. We'll be back shortly. Now a look from Ram Trucks. 580 total yards of offense for Texas, 175 for Oklahoma. As now Charles Wright has come into the game, a redshirt freshman. So we saw Quinn Ewers just slice and dice this defense. Hudson Card come in for a bit. He's dealing with a bad ankle, by the way. And now with this score and this moment, an opportunity to get Charles Wright into the game as he gives to Jaden Blue. And Jordan Kelly comes up with the tackle. 7.5 minutes to go, Bring. And I don't want to get back to it because just from historical perspective, 311 straight games without being shut out, Oklahoma. Think about Oklahoma through the generation. For some college football fans, their lifetime going back to 1998. It's an offensive powerhouse.
Always has been. And obviously today, going against a good defense that Texas has, but I've been watching Oklahoma football a long time. And since I was 10 years old and watched probably almost every game they've had, with the exception of some of the pay-per-views, which, I didn't get those maybe the last few years. But in all seriousness, I've watched probably 30 or 40% of the Oklahoma offensive snaps because I've been so fascinated with just how good their offenses have been forever, and I'm such a fan of offensive football. But today was an abysmal performance. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. They didn't have really much of an opportunity to do anything, and they really didn't try anything, which is even more mind-blowing in a lot of ways.
Jaden Blue continues to bleed this clock for Texas. Largest shutout losses in Oklahoma history. 1945, they lost to Oklahoma State 47-0. That was 1945. Now against their rival in Red River, it's 49-0 with 6 minutes to play. Oklahoma also 167 straight games without an offensive touchdown. 167 straight games they've scored a touchdown. That is the longest active streak in FBS. Got to go back to 2009 against Nebraska the last time they didn't have a touchdown, as Auburn misses the field goal attempt here. They're going to have just over 5.5 minutes to solve all of what we just put forth. Oklahoma ball when we return, trying to get rid of that goose egg.
College football on ABC is presented by Arby's. Arby's, we have the meats.
There's Big Tex, State Fair. He's 70 years old this year. 70th birthday for Big Tex. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven, high above Big Tex. He's got a new wardrobe as well. Javonte Barnes with the carry. New quarterback is Nick Evers, the true freshman.
It's good to see Nick Evers out there now, see what he's capable of. For whatever reason, Dylan Gabriel can't go next week or can't go at some point in the future. It's good to get a look at all your guys in real live action. So if I'm Jeff Levy, I'm doing everything. I'm throwing it, I'm running it. I want to see what this young freshman's capable of.
Evers gives to Barnes. Got to go back to October 9th of 1965 for the last time Texas shut out Oklahoma. That was 19-0. That is how Nick Evers steps into this game at quarterback.
Yeah, they have totally dominated up front, especially here in the second half of this football game. Look, there's not much threat of the pass. So these defensive linemen for the Longhorns, as you can see Sweat putting the crown on, making the play there in the backfield.
167 consecutive games scoring a touchdown. That is the longest streak in major college football. And that is being threatened right here as that ball goes right into the ground in front of Gavin Freeman's feet. So a fourth down for the Sooners. What are we dealing with? You see the mullet on Quinn Ewers. What are we dealing with here with Oklahoma? I mean, forget just this, but the last 3 weeks and things that you're seeing, what's the reality here, Brett?
I mean, it's bad. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, let's start with the offense. Look, it's going to be difficult to run this style of offense when you don't have a starter. I mean, it just ultimately, this offense requires a lot of reps. This offense requires a lot of feel and understanding of space and rhythm and tempo. So when you're without a starter, it's incredibly difficult. But defensively, to see how they played the first few weeks and then compare that to what they looked like the last 3 weeks, it is night and day. And we can explain some of the things they really need to clean up here, and they better clean them up in a hurry, or they're going to be staring at a very ugly 2022.
If you want. Now, I know you're a local, so you got your favorites.
Yeah, these are 5 that are kind of off the grid, but they're shockingly good. I mean, the deep fried Rocky Road. That's one that kind of threw me for a loop. Fried ice cream, right? I'm not so sure about that. Fried lasagna, no doubter. Fried strawberry shortcake. I mean, you're big in the charcuterie boards. Do you take genuine offense to a fried charcuterie board?
Very much so. Not as much as I would be offended with the fried lasagna. The fried lasagna, as the son of an Italian immigrant, I'm just ready to get the first flight out of here right now. But that fried BLT, let me tell you something. I would put down about 3 of those right now. I am starving. Where are we going after here? Because I am so hungry right now.
Well,
you got Nick and Sam's with like a bone-in set for me. Like,
that's a little fancy for my taste. I'm going to go find one of those fried beers.
I'm down.
Want to try one of those? I've never heard of anything quite like that, but I feel like that's something you almost have to try.
And Katie George usually leads the way with our food choices. So.
Well, I'm there.
What do you got, Katie?
I don't know what you two are talking about. I'm trying to get my post game ready, guys.
Starving. That's what I'm talking about. Jonathan Brooks tackled for a loss here. And listen, this clock is counting down, and this is going to be historic proportions on the scoreboard. Again, Oklahoma, the longest active streak in major college football of scoring an offensive touchdown in a game, 167. Oklahoma, 311 straight games without being shut out. And they haven't lost back-to-back games by 30-plus points in the poll era, going back to the 1930s. Is this a bottoming out all of a sudden in the midst of this season?
It certainly feels that way. And part of the problems is some of the things that they have issues with are not easily correctable. I mean, that's part of the issue. I mean, it's one thing, for instance, last week, you could point to a couple instances. You can look at maybe a safety taking a horrendous angle at Max Duggan as he goes down the right sideline for a long touchdown. You could point to 2 examples in the game in which they blew a coverage and a guy for TCU is wide open.
Illegal motion on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
I mean, those things are correctable. That's communication. That's, hey, you got to take a better angle. What we've seen today is not something that can get fixed overnight. They've been getting absolutely smashed at the line of scrimmage. And for the most part, their offense, and I know with your quarterback situation, it's difficult to move the ball. But man, they have not really been able to generate a consistent run game without it being Wildcat.
Just over 2 minutes to go. Oklahoma will have the ball. Still trying to score. Hey, Sean, Todd Molly are going to have a good one in Chestnut Hill in terms of the atmosphere with red bandana and the number 5 team in the country taking on BC. Clemson, BC, 7:30 tonight on ABC. Saturday Night Football is presented by Capital One. Of course, always college football, everything you need to know every single day. Greg McElroy's Always College Football. That's available everywhere you can find a podcast, as well as the ESPN YouTube page. What are you expecting with Clemson up at BC tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be an awesome scene, like you alluded to. And I'd be surprised if BC didn't play well. The problem is we've seen different variations of BC really this year. I mean, if they play like they did last week, they're in great shape. They play like they did against Florida State, they're going to get crushed. So need to look a lot like they did last week. And I think they can make things interesting, especially knowing that maybe Clemson's been reading their press clippings a little bit after the great win last week against NC State. Speaking of Clemson and Brent Venables, too, and this is the last thing I'll say about this, they really need to improve their personnel defensively, too. I mean, I think a lot of people thought that Brent Venables would come in here, wage magic wand, bring this incredible system, and next thing you know, they're going to be great on defense. But ultimately, it's players over plays when it comes to the defensive side of the football. And right now, they have a lot of players, but they don't really have a lot of erasers, and they don't really have a lot of game changers. So he really needs to hammer the portal this offseason when it comes to defensive players in the front seven. And he also, I think, needs to hammer guys in the back end, too, at corner and at safety. Really, all 11 positions need to be on notice because there's going to be some heavy competition throughout the rest of the regular season and then next spring when they get teed up for the 2023 season.
It's a good win for Steve Sarkisian. And let me tell you something, this Texas offense with Quinn Ewers at quarterback, Bijan Robinson, you know what he offers up. Watch out. Javonte Barnes with a good gainer here in the final half minute is upon us.
And I'm telling you, man, Texas, we already talked about it. We're not going to play the hypotheticals, but it's hard not to say what if, right? I mean, this team that we saw on the field here today, granted, this is October 8th version of the Texas Longhorns. This team right here can go with anybody. The way they dominated on both lines of scrimmage and the way their quarterback played, plus the rhythm they got into both offensively and defensively. If they look like this down the stretch, you're looking at maybe the best team in the Big 12 and a team that you certainly don't want to face down the stretch.
Sark does it big time in Red River. 49-zip. Texas is 49 points, the most in Red River Showdown history. And the 311 straight games without being shut out, that's gone. The 167 straight games Oklahoma had with an offensive touchdown, that's gone. It is the worst shutout loss in Oklahoma history. Texas just throttles them. Let's go to Katie.
Thanks, Tess. Coach Sarkisian, that was a pretty flawless performance. Just what impressed you most about your team's play today?
Well, I liked our state of mind all week. I thought our guys were really focused this week. This game comes with a lot of distractions, and I thought our kids prepared really well, came in clear-minded, really good mental intensity, and played good football today.
The Golden Hats heading back with you down to Austin. How does that feel?
Feels great. You know, we felt like we let one get away last year, so to come back and get it this year feels great.
What did you think of the play of your quarterback Quinn Ewers in his return?
Thought he played really well. I was joking with him earlier. I said, might have been one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. Ball slipped out of his hands. But outside of that, I thought he showed great composure. He's just such a cool customer in moments like this.
He certainly did. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
I'll head to the quarterback here. Quinn, I don't know if you've been told or not, being from the state of Texas, this is not usually how this goes, 49-0. What did you think of your first Red River Showdown?
It was a lot of fun. It's just a dream come true for me. You know, growing up and being able to come to this game because I grew up near Dallas. You know, to finally get to experience the game experience, it's just dream come true. And you got it so good.
What was it like in the time period off? I bet it was killing you, wanting to get back on the field. How did it feel in your return?
Yeah, you know, it was tough, obviously, but I worked pretty hard, tried to come back, and believed in the team, obviously, and it was just so much fun to finally be back on the field with my great teammates.
Go join them now. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
289 yards, 4 touchdowns. He made it look so easy.
It was effortless today. I mean, it really was. And part of that had to do with who they were playing against and really the lack of a heartbeat that you saw from the Sooners. But I'll tell you what, man, like I said a second ago, the way this team is playing, if they can finish the way they start, that was been the message for as long as Sarkisian's been there. Finish, finish, finish. Great first half team, subpar second half team. That has not been the case the last couple weeks. If they can put 60 minutes together, look out. The Longhorns, not going to say Texas is back, folks, but I will say they are dangerous.
That's dangerous to say. Sark said the game comes with a lot of distractions. They were focused. They were primed. They were as dominant as we've ever seen. It was a beatdown in Big D, Kevin.